Indonesia, Tzu Chi volunteers deliver hot food to flood-affected residents in Tebing Tinggi. South Africa, Tzu Chi volunteers hold an aid distribution for poor families impacted by the pandemic. Welcome to the Headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. In Indonesia, heavy rain led to floods in Tebing Tinggi. As a result, hundreds of residential homes were affected. The day after the disaster, Tzu Chi volunteers cook hot meals and deliver the food to the affected residents.
The water flooded our homes knee-deep. Outside the door, the water was even neck-high in some places. Most people's belongings were destroyed: tables, chairs, and refrigerator. The flood came quickly, and no one had time to evacuate.
The days of torrential rain have caused major flooding in Tebing Tinggi of North Sumatra. It has become such a problem for a lot of the disaster victims.
Pagi-pagi kita sudah mengumpulkan semua relawan, ada tim konsumsi.
The day after the flooding happened, we recruited volunteers to cook meals for the disaster victims. We boxed up the meals and delivered to them.
Nah, kemudian ada yang terjun ke lapangan berupa tim tanggap darurat.
Tzu Chi volunteers work in teams to deliver meals along with da'ai noodles and drinking water to the disaster victims.
I'm so thankful Tzu Chi volunteers of Indonesia are here to look after our village.
Para relawan
Each of the volunteers helping out at the disaster zone are there from 1 in the afternoon to 9 at night. They are submerged in water the whole time, and no one has complained.
jam 6.
Though the volunteers are wearing rain boots, the flood has not receded and it's seeping into the boots. However, Tzu Chi volunteers continue on as they know disaster victims are waiting for assistance.
In Dominican Republic, Tzu Chi volunteers have visited residents in need in the mountainous areas. The aid distribution has been held under a big tree in the village. Volunteers placed food in the plastic basins, while villagers donated vegetables. The vegetables from the mountains include pumpkins, cucumbers, eggplants, oranges, and celeries. They have come with people's best wishes.
Thank you for your love. It has proven that no one is poor and no one cannot give. Anyone with the will can give of themselves. We want to thank you for your love.
There's rice bank campaign in Vietnam. Meanwhile, in Dominican Republic, villagers have donated their crops. Children have donated their coins to Tzu Chi.
We know that Tzu Chi started with its bamboo bank era. We also want to do our share.
Hello, Tzu Chi volunteers. Thank you for remembering us and bringing us the needed supplies. We wish you safety and good health.
As Christmas season approaches, the volunteers and villagers gathering under the big tree is like a holiday gift exchange. They've proven that there's love in everybody's heart. Tzu Chi volunteers in Osaka, Japan, cooperated with Iron House to distribute supplies. As the weather got colder, Tzu Chi volunteers prepare underwear, towels, socks, and oranges for this winter distribution.
A red light was given regarding COVID-19 epidemic prevention measures, meaning unnecessary travel is not recommended. Fortunately, day laborers and homeless people in Nishinari still have this shelter to visit.
After the COVID outbreak this year, the distance between beds was increased due to epidemic prevention measures. We also reduced the number of occupants and also installed partitions between each bed.
This is the 5th year of Tzu Chi's winter cooperation with Iron House. At the end of 2020, because of less work, supplies are even more critical, though this director wants everyone to feel happy.
We can only give back a little bit. Despite this, we still hope to help.
Blessing comes from a heart that knows how to give. Jingsa aphorisms can also inspire people to do good deeds and witness charity in action.
In the United States, despite the pandemic, Tzu Chi volunteers share love with the needy ahead of the Christmas season. In Watsonville, Northern California, Tzu Chi worked with the city government for the 18th year to deliver Christmas gifts to poor farming families. Among the gifts, there are also pandemic prevention supplies.
秋冬的时候分享我们的喜悦以及庆祝佳节的心情与这些移工的家庭们。那希望他们收到礼物的时候也感受到我们的关心与温暖。
Volunteers hand their Christmas gifts to passengers in cars on the roadside. Parents from Cupertino Tzu Chi Academy have become Santa Claus.
I think this is a good tradition as it helps other people. So, I want to continue this tradition.
These gifts were prepared by city volunteers. As they uphold their promise to the city government for 18 years, they give the gifts to Spanish-speaking farming families.
Making it a lot better for us, and hopefully next year will be better. Thank you, guys.
I'm really happy. I'm with others too. Thank you.
Since there is a shelter-in-place order, we distribute gifts through a drive-thru format. The event is different from past distributions.
Besides Christmas gifts, volunteers also give out pandemic prevention supplies. Police have come to direct traffic at the drive-thru distribution. Volunteers have formed good affinities with police by donating pandemic prevention supplies this year.
Without your help, this would have not been possible. We have 90 families, so all of your guys' assistance out here today is so appreciated. You guys are all tremendously awesome.
During the pandemic, volunteers have overcome challenges to share their love and care with the families in need. City volunteers have been caring about indigenous children in Hualien for 12 years through special Christmas activities. This year, in response to Tzu Chi 30 years of recycling, they invited these children to the recycling station to celebrate Christmas.
Welcome to Hualien's Indigenous Children's Care House. Today, students from Tzu Chi University of Science and Technology are doing recycling activities to celebrate Christmas. Although it's their first time doing recycling, the degree of seriousness and hard work of these children is similar to that of adults, as they are learning to cherish resources.
I will tell my classmates to use less single-use garbage and try to use more environmentally friendly items.
In addition to being environmentally friendly, vegetarianism is also an important way of protecting the environment and ecology.
1秒钟就有2443只的动物宰杀。
Being vegetarian means one can be healthy and don't have to kill. We can be environmentally friendly and love the earth.
Sisters from Tzu Chi have come to care about this home for indigenous children for about 12 years. Every year on the eve of Christmas, there will be some activities to share such a festive holiday.
Tzu Chi volunteers cook delicious vegetables with heart, hoping that the children will eat heartily and be full of love.
According to data, 77% of Taiwan's mentally disabled people are at least 45 years old. Unfortunately, they still depend upon their parents. Losing such parents will be a disaster for them. Many social groups have been visiting such high-risk families to ensure these mentally handicapped people are looked after.
33排在哪里？716、717、718。 父亲节快到了，你想看吗？
Touching his father's ashes in this pagoda, Aji, who is severely mentally handicapped, can't express much feeling, but he has been clamoring to come here to mourn his father's passing.
好了，开心的啊！安儿他有这个。
He wished to see his father, and he's very happy when he sees him in his mausoleum.
When Aji returned to his family's home, the memory of his father's death 10 years ago came to his mind.
Soon after his mother passed away, his father experienced a type of cerebral atrophy, and his body was paralyzed, and he fell ill on the bed.
One morning, the housekeeper went to Aji's house and found that the lunchbox had not been eaten, and his father's body was already cold. This led some to believe that his father died last night. Aji was next to him and didn't know that his father had gone to heaven.
应该是那不搭，是不是你的单车还留在那边，对不对啊？是吉阳这些单车我还知道啊。
Most of the mentally handicapped which age live at home and are inseparable from their family members. Once their parents pass away, these individuals have to take care of themselves and immediately get into trouble. Fortunately, the village chief assisted in handling the funeral, also found Aji a new home. Canaan Disability Home.
Aji 来到这边哦，很适应这边的生活啊。他在
Aji came here and adapted to life here. He grew up in a single-parent disabled family and was very lonely and bored. Now it's like he has a big family here, like someone he can call mom, elder sister, and many brothers.
In the darkest moments of his life, Aji has received timely help from social welfare groups, but not everyone is as lucky as him. According to data, only 7% of mentally disabled elderly people are placed in institutions, as most are still taken care of by their parents.
In many cases, the family member who took care of them gradually passed away one by one.
From 1990 to 2004, the domestic media reported 18 cases of suicide by parents taking care of children with mental disabilities who fell into despair.
We just want to hope that at least the Long-Term Care Act can provide some services, and other social care can also support these people.
In the Canaan Disability Home, Aji also helps clean the table and other parts of the home after eating.
在家里热闹还是这边热闹？这边好。你在这边有没有开心？哎，到了啊！村长好。比较年轻的嘞。
After Aji's father passed away, there are fortunately 2 more fathers coming to care for him. One is Tzu Chi, the director of the Canaan Welfare Home, where he lives day and night, and the other is old village chief Li Yiren, who had been caring for him since he was a child.
Aji has really made a lot of progress.
Aji can't write, but with the help of volunteers, he was able to put his thoughts into these cards. When the care provided by family members disappears, these individuals have little choice but to seek out support from society. Aching, a patient with Down syndrome, looked at this mobile phone and immediately followed the melody and danced to the song. Sao Yenza is also one such elder with mental disabilities who also sings along enthusiastically. In the eyes of social workers, every elder with mental disability is worthy of support and encouragement because they have all gone through difficult times. Still, there are many locked in dysfunctional families that are still struggling to survive. When we find these children in need of care, a report, call, or message may help change their lives.
In South Africa, Gauteng is facing a second wave of the pandemic. City volunteers hosting a distribution to help the impoverished families. Let's join them there.
Gauteng province, where the capital of South Africa, Johannesburg, is located, is the second highest danger zone for the pandemic, and also where Tzu Chi is focusing its relief efforts in.
Tzu Chi Foundation in South Africa.
We help 27 hospitals.
A local charity organization, War Against Starvation, has helped Tzu Chi with the building of the name list of recipients.
Of everyone here, and from our heart, I would like to say thank you. Your founder has started small. We started small. And it's the ripple effect we do, like a water drop, and it ripples to everyone around us.
Working as a repairman, Knowles Dysel is a translator at this event and hopes to continue to contribute more in the future.
Is creating for the world to give them hope and help 3 other people. And those 3 other people, you tell them to go help 3 other people more.
The pandemic is uncertain, but we have confidence in love.
Tang Ai-ling, who lives in Malaysia, works multiple jobs to support her family. Yet no matter how busy she is, she has to help sew protective clothing for Tzu Chi, because when her sister was injured, Tzu Chi volunteers helped her.
Tang Ai-ling is a housewife. She works several jobs to support her family. She's a babysitter, a part-time worker in a factory, and a sewing worker at home, leading a fulfilling life every day.
I've been sewing clothes before. Later, I haven't done it. I took care of children instead. These are the pillow in the coffin. Now I have to sew it here to make it into a pillow.
Talking about how she helped Tzu Chi sew PPEs, it all came from her sister.
My sister was really harsh. At that time, she hurt seriously and couldn't walk. Tzu Chi has helped her a lot to pass through the difficulty. So whatever I can help, I immediately agree without consideration. By doing this, I want to bless those contracted with COVID to be recovered. Give them health and the epidemic to end soon.
Since the first wave of the pandemic, although they have their own work, they are still willing to give of themselves. I'm very grateful for their selfless contribution.
Every Tzu Chi volunteer and community resident contributes their parts to safeguard the frontline personnel, serving as their best support.
In Jakarta, Indonesia, a 24-year mother had a car accident. The accident took her son's life and broke her legs. In the past few months, she has undergone many operations and has spent all her savings. Later, Tzu Chi volunteers provided her with medical subsidy.
Leaning on crutches and staggering, 24-year-old Rosita suffered a serious car accident in January this year. The accident not only took the life of her 3-year-old son, she almost lost her life.
At that time, I was riding a motorcycle as usual. Suddenly, someone riding a bike hit me from the behind. Then I became unconscious. When I woke up, I couldn't remember anything.
Rosita was saved, yet she suffered multiple fractures. The most serious was her right calf. She had a surgery to fix her tibia. In the past few months, she had to rely on her husband to take care of her. Her condition has recently improved and she has been able to manage her wounds.
Her condition has improved a lot. Just before, she told me that the doctor suggests her to do one more surgery, but she doesn't want it. So I encourage her. Maybe this is the best treatment given by her doctor. She has to accept it and face it.
After the car accident, Rosita was unable to work, yet she has to settle a series of medical expenses, which almost spent all her savings. Later, Tzu Chi provided her with medical subsidies, making her feel a bit of relief.
I always chat with volunteers about my difficulties. Every time they come visit me, they will ask if I have had a meal or if I need help. They will care about everything, just like my parents.
Volunteers not only visit her regularly, but also encourage her to save money every day to donate, so that this love can help more people in need.
In Fujian, there's a 73-year-old recycling volunteer named Yang Shumei. Her husband passed away early, and she had to raise 4 daughters. Now she has switched her focus to recycling. Let's take a look.
你身体有力，你身体你无一直行动，你唔就一直求落去，啊，一个厝啊，唔一个拄转呢卖半项，都一直拄人，是袂好势，感觉无做就也艰苦。
73-year-old Yang Shumei immediately sets out with a tricycle when she gets a call that recyclables are available. To reduce her back pain, villagers will throw the recyclables down from the 2nd floor, so Yang doesn't have to climb up and down the stairs to collect them. A few neighbors show up to help sort as well.
Everyone thinks highly of her. We all think she's a good person. She's kind to everyone. No matter if you are an adult or a child, we are all respectful of her.
Yang's husband passed away early on, and the 4 daughters all have families of their own. Thus, since 2012, she has been focusing on recycling, and a recycling station is set up across the street from her house.
These recyclables are light when you drag it down, but heavy to lift. If I can't lift it, I'll ask my neighbor's husband to help, or whoever is available.
To have a sister who cares about recycling is very good for our neighborhood. She's our treasure.
Some think you can rest when you're older, but I think we should continue working because if we stop being active, then our health deteriorates. Now I sort recyclables during the day, and at night I get a good night's rest. Some people worry about sleeping at night at my age, but I sleep well.
Practically the whole village knows Yang Shumei because she is such an active recycling volunteer, and someone even wrote her a song to celebrate.
There are 24 hours in a day, and she has really used up 20 hours in a day to do recycling. She's such a good role model for our villagers. We need to continue learning from her.
It's all in a day's work. I like to do it, so I'm willing to bear it.
In order to pray for all living beings during the pandemic, Beigang Chaotian Temple held a 2-week ritual for the first time in 300 years. During the period, city volunteers prepared 1,500 vegetarian meals for each meal.
Early in the morning, Tzu Chi volunteers were busy preparing delicious vegetarian food in the visitors' lodge of the Beigang Chaotian Temple. The owner of the vegetarian restaurant, Tzu Chi volunteer Gao Weizhe, joins with his father to help.
Because I am from Beigang, my father and I are both in Tzu Chi, so I'm willing to take on this responsibility.
The master has always urged us to promote vegetarianism, so this is a very special cause to promote it.
In the hope of ending the pandemic soon and praying for a world free of disasters, Chaotian Temple held a 2-week liberation rite of water and land, inviting local Tzu Chi volunteers to prepare delicious vegetarian food.
This is the first liberation rites of water and land in Chaotian Temple in over 300 years. Chairman Cai wanted everyone to eat vegetarian meals, so he invited Tzu Chi volunteers to cook.
It's a meal for our followers. We are glad Tzu Chi is here to help. One meal is expected to provide 1,500 servings. The 2-week event is challenging, but they are blessed.
Everyone is a devout vegetarian and prays together to end the pandemic as soon as possible.
In Medan, Indonesia, a village was flooded in early December. City volunteers provided carts, sanitation supplies, and living supplies to affected residents. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.